Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and today we're playing some more Esper CryoBlade. This is a deck that I've been playing a ton of recently, both on the channel and in paper. I've been taking it to my locals basically every single week because I've just been loving it. I can't say I've made too many changes to it since the last time we've been playing it and the various times we've been playing it on the channel, because this just feels like a really good version of the deck. I got a trophy with this exact list, I think, or maybe there's slight differences in the sideboard, and then 3 or 4 or 5 other people got trophies with a list very similar to this in the week after that. And so I'm open to cards that people are interested. Oh, is this going to be good in here or whatnot? But from my perspective, it's already felt like I'm pretty close to a stock list, so to speak. Not that I'm going to finalize that quite yet. But anyway, I'm very happy with what we have so far. So, in case you don't know the deck, we are revolving around Cryogen Relic, getting it to resolve, and then picking it back up with Clint Hawk or Core Skyfisher to draw cards, because when it leaves the battlefield as well as when it enters, we're going to draw an extra card. We can also pick up and replay our Refurbished Familiar with that, Tithing Blade as removal, Grim Bauble as removal, and a little bit cheaper, targeted removal. Blood Fountain to make a blood token, not really something we want to recur, it's just very nice for buying back off all of our creatures. Navigator's Compass, if we're against a burn matchup, the life gain can be really important, and because we're 3 colors, the fixing is really good here. And we have a little bit of extra card draw with Eviscerator's Insight and, of course, Thoughtcast, because we are an Affinity deck. We're running the Refurbs as well as Mirror Enforcers, and then the other flyers as our 16 threats that we're trying to win the game with. And then for more removal in this column here, Suffocating Fumes, just so that we can make it so we don't lose to a go-wide deck like Red Rally. Bunch of cast downs because that card is very good, Thraben Charm, and then my personal favorite card in the deck, Raven's Crime. We draw a lot of cards, get a lot of lands in hand that we're not necessarily able to deploy extremely quickly. Dumping them all to a Raven's Crime can be absolutely perfect. For our mana base, mostly just a whole bunch of artifact lands, but we also have a 1-up Bojuka Bog, which is nice graveyard hate, and also can be rebought with the Core Skyfisher. In the sideboard, we have Dust to Dust for Affinity, Thraben Charm for all of its various uses, Blue Elemental Blasts for red matchups, Fairy Macabre, Drown in Sorrow, Last Rites, and 2 Duress. So let's take it into a league and see how we do. We're on the play here, and we have a bit of a slow one, but we're going to keep it. This hand is made keepable thanks to viewers like you. No, because of the Compass. Without the Compass, this hand is not very good, as we just get a Skyfisher and not really anything great to pick up. But because of the Compass, we get to play Cryogen Relic, which is pretty nice. We are against Spy Walls. Well, I just assume it's Walls because that's the deck going around. We do have a Gatecreeper Vine, double Sagu Wildling, and another land grant to make it even more annoying here. 7 cards in hand, and it should be this 7. So it looks like Spy Wall is just from the Gatecreeper Vine, but I guess it could be something else as well. They don't currently have a Masked Vandal, which is nice for us. Holding Bojuka Bog. Bojuka Bog's not going to be super relevant as far as exiling their graveyard for the combo, because we can't do that at instant speed. However, just being able to take out a creature from the graveyard so that they can't Masked Vandal us on a specific turn could be pretty nice. They top deck an Overgrown Battlement. That's a pretty good one. And Tithing Blade is pretty good too. I was just going to say I might cast this down, but obviously we're going to just Tithing Blade it. And we want to hit our land drops, plus getting rid of these guys can be pretty nice. So they do have 1, 2, 3. They definitely are going to hit all their lands here. Mesmeric Fiend can also take a card from our hand if they want to do that at some point. Looks like they might just lead the Stampede here. Or maybe Gatecreeper Vine, I suppose. Winding Way. Looks like that was their top deck. Finds 4 cards, including a Masked Vandal. There's a Caretaker and a Generous Ant, so they can definitely take us off an artifact this turn. Have to discard. We get a Fumes. Fumes, not super relevant at the moment. Can be good against Mesmeric Fiend later. I could just Core Skyfisher the Bog, get rid of their Wildling, but they just have a Generous Ant they can use anyway, so I don't think that matters too much. I think for that reason, we're just getting down this Relic. We're looking for Thraben Charm. I mean, here we wouldn't mind a land either. A Thraben Charm would be a decent one. Refurb 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can't get down this Enforcer. Our only other thing to play is a Refurb, so might as well. Make him pitch something. And it's another Wildling. There's the Vine. Pull out a Swamp this time, I would assume. Indeed. And then Vandal's gonna take something. Oh no, it looks like they're Axebane Guardian. Okay. I can cast down the Guardian, which we will probably be doing. Bridge also lets us get down Enforcer. Yeah, we definitely need to cut them off some of their mana here. Attack for 2, plus play this Enforcer. Now they're going to lead the Stampede. They find a Spy, a Troll, and an Axebane Guardian. Wall of Roots, that was another one of their draws we didn't know about. And a Caretaker. Okay. Pretty sure we know there's 6 cards then. Another Enforcer. So I could hold up a Suffocating Fumes. That doesn't really matter. I could Skyfisher away their graveyard, but they have Cyclers in hand, so that doesn't really matter either. They're probably holding Vandal for like a Spell Bomb. Tithing Blade them, I don't really love that. I think we're just picking up the Cryogen with the Skyfisher, hoping we find some more interaction. Thraben Charm would be good, although they have 4, 5, 6 mana, so they have enough to go Mesmeric Fiend, 7 with the second Caretaker. They have enough to go Fiend and Spy, which means we pretty much lose. Even if we get Thraben Charm, I don't think it matters here. Picking up the Bog doesn't matter because they just combo anyway. I could Tithing Blade them, but that doesn't really do much. We do get the Thraben Charm, but if they just Fiend first, it doesn't matter, right? Not really, but I guess we'll just pass with it up anyway. They play the Fiend, take the Charm, and they Spy. We're dead. Okay, we get Fairy Macabre, we get more Thraben Charms, and Last Rites could be decent. Drown in Sorrow, maybe. Nothing feels great here. Bauble can get some things, but not really that many. Game's probably not going to go super late, so I don't really need insights. We don't want to cut any removal, other than, I guess, the Bauble. Fumes still feels decent, because it can, if I can hold up instant speed Fumes to wipe a Fiend, then we can have a Thraben Charm up. So I guess we just do this. Drown Sorrow just doesn't kill enough, I don't think. Kills Gatecreeper Vine. Not Mystic. Mesmeric Fiend. Alright, we're on the play. We don't have black mana, but we have Cryogen, we have Thraben Charm, and we could probably draw to get our black sources, so I think this seems solid enough. They once again land grant with 2 Lotus Petals. I guess they could get down like a Generous or a Guardian right now if they wanted. They don't. We find Vault of Whispers. We will play a Cryogen. They cycle a Generosent. We have cast downs for some of their creatures, and they have a Dread Return in hand, which they probably have another one in their deck, but it can be a bit of a waste in their opener, which is nice. They're going to play the Guardian, which we'll just cast down. Kind of annoying that we can't play Refurb as well here because of our mana, but what are you going to do? Then again, Refurb is kind of only good for them. It lets them put the Dread Return in the graveyard, which probably won't be relevant, but not really helpful either. Tithing Blade, keeping their creature count low in general is good, so we'll just throw that out there and pass. And they Winding Way. Next turn we can get down an Enforcer, start going aggro. They do reveal 4 creatures though. Wildling, Battlement, Guardian, and another Wildling. Lotus Petal to turbo out the Battlement, I assume? Mesmeric Fiend, sure. Well, I have ways to remove that, but they take the Thraben Charm. We're really pinched on black mana, which is quite annoying. I kind of want to kill this, but I don't necessarily have to this turn, because they can't Spy and get another creature this turn, I don't think, unless I'm miscalculating, which means that I could Refurb and Enforcer. Then again, the following turn, I'd have to spend a turn casting Fumes to get this back, and then they could maybe combo me. I guess it's pretty annoying, but I kind of have to just pass, use Fumes on the Fiend. They have a Battlement and another. We will kill the Fiend, get back our Thraben Charm. Another Enforcer. Well, I guess I play Blood Fountain. I can put out 2 Enforcers, and I can hold up Thraben Charm. They have 8 mana here, but they need another black and a Mesmeric Fiend to be able to take the Thraben Charm. Or I guess if they just have like a Masked Vandal, they could take us off one of these and get us that way. But we don't know about that, so I think we have to play otherwise. Yeah, they do just have a Wildling they're going to play. That's fine, just as a blocker. Okay, I'm going to sack this Relic and use the card draw. Can't really afford to use it and like tap out a lot anyway, even if we get it with Skyfisher. I mean, we have to hold up Thraben Charm, and if we don't use Thraben Charm, we can cast down. Thought Cast. Bojuka Bog is decent. Like maybe next turn we refurb them with, and they discard Dread Return and then we use it, something like that. For now, we're just holding up Cast Down and Thraben Charm, I think. Can't really afford to do anything else. I guess they can Dread Return. They have another Fiend. Well, I was gonna say they can Dread Return their Fiend, but I don't think we can do anything about that. I guess I could have Bojuka Bogged away the Fiend, so they couldn't do that, but they just have another Fiend. So they just take it and then they Spy and it doesn't matter. Well, we have a Fairy Macabre in our deck, so Theoretically, this could find us the answer. No, it finds us another Thraben Charm, but we don't have the mana for it. I think this might just be one of our worst matchups, as it's pretty difficult to deal with in general. I mean, we have 4 Thraben Charms, plus a Bog, plus the Fairy Macabre. We have quite a few removal spells for the Mesmeric Fiend after the fact. Maybe we just got unlucky, but also sorry about the record overlay, but it is just currently not working at the moment, so gotta just deal with it. This hand's okay. The Bojuka Bog kind of screwing us up here, not having a second artifact land. Because if we do have a second artifact land, which we might draw, we could do turn 2 Compass Refurb. Or rather, if we have a second untapped one, we could do turn 1 Vault Compass, turn 2 refurbs, which would be very strong. Opponent mulligans to 5, and the double refurb's going to hit pretty hard on the mulligan as well. And let's see if they're playing anything fair. Green doesn't do a lot of fair things in Pauper. Abundant Growth means probably Bogles, which is more fair than what we were just playing against, but still kind of on that side. I guess we'll play the Compass. Maybe I should have even just played the Bog first, so I could play a 2-drop, but then not a very relevant 2-drop, because I couldn't play these. I couldn't play this because I wouldn't have white. I don't know. I think this is better. If it is Bogles, Tithing Blade is very nice of ours in the main deck. We'll try to find that. Alright, they have the Bogle and just play an Ash Barrens. Maybe they have another Ash Barrens? It seems like, why wouldn't they just cycle this for a forest and then play that? But I don't know. We are not drawing great. We could definitely just die to the Bogles. I guess theoretically, if they have nothing to buff it with, then next turn we get an untapped land, we could Fumes it. Even if not, next turn we can play Familiar. They have a Utopia Sprawl. See, if they had gotten a forest with this last turn, they could put this over here and have an extra mana. Just getting in for 1. Guess we're holding out for that untapped mana. Grim Bauble, I mean, it doesn't target anything, so not great, but it's just another artifact to get down for the Enforcer, so I think we play it. Theoretically, if they play like a Malevolent Rumble and they get a spawn, maybe this can ping that off, but I think I'd rather just get to the Enforcer faster. Either way, we get to play a refurb here. They discard another Bogle. They cast an Armadillo Cloak. They didn't use their colorless for that. Maybe they don't have another 1-drop, but this is pretty good for us. It's just a 3/3, and then we get to take their last card with the refurb. Seat of the Synod is not bad either. So we get to play this, take their card. It was a Hyena Umbra. We have 6 artifacts on the board, so I could play a Skyfisher, but I think I might as well just play an Enforcer here, which blocks pretty nicely. If they get like an Ancestral Mask off the top, this would become a 9/9, so I couldn't block it anyway, so I might as well get in for 2. And it's just a Plains. Things are looking pretty good. Glint Hawk. So Compass here. I guess we only have 1 white mana, because I was thinking I might Skyfisher a land, Glint Hawk, a refurb, and replay it just to develop more creatures out, but I actually only have 1 white mana, so in that case, I'm going to attack. It's only really bad if they get like an Ancestral Mask off the top, but otherwise we just finish the game pretty quickly here, and unless we get a Tithing Blade, which we have no way of knowing if we'll get, there's not really a guarantee that they won't just draw that at some point either. So like, yeah, I think we just do this. They get to gain 3, but we're hitting for 8, and next turn 10, so I think it's okay. And we drew an Insight, which can get us some more cards next turn, but they got to draw something pretty good here. Also, if they don't draw a buff spell at all, they can't even attack, because I could just trade like a Skyfisher for this. And they just get a Glade Cover Scout, which I can also Suffocating Fumes. So we're going to attack for 10. They chump block. Fair enough. So we're going to Thoughtcast. More Thoughtcasts. Sure. We will make this a white source. Pick up the Seat so we can draw 2 more cards. If they find an Ancestral Mask, it's a 9/9. It gains them 9. They go to 16. Next turn we have 12 on them, so that's not quite lethal. So I think our best bet is just trying to draw as many cards, so if they do find that, we can at least Tithing Blade them, ideally. More lands is not bad. Not necessary in this situation. We're either going to win or potentially have some trouble on our hands. Malevolent Rumble is pretty good. It does not find an Ancestral Mask. Rancor or Aura Gnarlid are their best hits, neither of which I think are going to win them the game, and they agree. So Duress is good because we can take things before they cast them. Thraben Charm can blow up. Enchantments, Drown in Sorrow is okay if we hit it right away. Last Rites feels like they're going to discard everything too quickly. Going to get rid of Insight. Blight, Grim Bauble, Blood Fountain. Raven's Crime could still be decent. Like, even if we're playing it on turn 3 or 4 to take 2 or 3 cards, not terrible. They do have Aura Gnarlid, but I feel like Cast Down's still probably worth taking out. We're just really trying to find these Tithing Blades, I guess. This one's going to be a mulligan. This does not have any interaction, which could just lose us the game, but it does draw a lot of cards just slowly. We're gonna keep it, get rid of the Blood Fountain, I think, because it doesn't really do anything. Just hope we don't get steamrolled too quickly and that we can find some interaction. There's a Scout. Tithing Blade off the top is exactly what we want. Now I would love to see them just going all in on this right away. Ethereal Armor and Rancor or something. I would just Tithing Blade it right away. But the fact that we have Tithing Blade 3 times with the Skyfishers, even if they put like a Malevolent Rumble down here or something, I think that's going to be very good for us. There is the Rumble, so we got to get the Tithing Blade going right away, I think, since the first thing it's going to hit is the spawn. They take the Forest. I kind of like that. They have to take that. I assume that means that's their third land and they have some decent 3-drops in hand. They don't even bother attacking. That's below them. We're going to Tithing Blade. This is going to give them 2 good turns to play things and attack before we can Tithing Blade this Glade Cover Scout. This turn they could play Ancestral Mask, doesn't do anything. Armadillo Cloak could be decent. There's a Sprawl. I'm really only scared of a Sprawl from this deck on turn 1. After that, it's like, yeah, it's fine. It might give them a decent turn next turn, but Gnarlid is, you know, the fact that they're going wide is kind of annoying, to be honest. If we don't draw anything relevant here, I'll probably just play the Cryogen Relic so that I can draw, and the next turn I can still Skyfish or Tithing Blade anyway. If I get like a black mana source here, I guess there's something to be said about Skyfishering here because I pick up Tithing Blade, maybe I draw my second Tithing Blade and I can use them both next turn. That doesn't appear to be the case. I guess the Skyfisher blocks the Glade Cover Scout, which is 1 less damage we take. Yeah, I guess so. I guess maybe that's worthwhile, or it just makes them put some things on the Scout, but that's probably not the case because of the Tithing Blade they know we're gonna have. I kind of also liked that they wouldn't know if we have an Edict next turn, and now they do. I don't know. Saving the 1 damage could be pretty relevant, to be honest. Sometimes their deck is, you know, crazy overkill, and sometimes it's like Xaxes, so every point can count. Another Bogle. Okay, well, I guess this they just have all the creatures. Not what I want to see with the Tithing Blade start. Another reason maybe I should have just gone Cryogen Relic. I guess this is just a 3/3, which is pretty good, and also this is susceptible, so if they go all in on this and we can just find like a Thraben Charm for damage to the Gnarlid, that could be good too. I think we're just going to start with this Relic then. I'll probably throw out the Tithing Blade, but I don't really want to make the decision with the Skyfisher this turn, since Tithing Blade's not looking amazing. Not as good as it's supposed to look. I could also keep the Gnarlid tapped with the Relic here. I think that's probably something we'll wait on until they buff this up a little bit. We'll play the Tithing Blade for all the good it does. I know Tithing Blade is not like, oh my god, it's going to absolutely crush a Bogles, you know, right away, because they do have, you know, ever since Malevolent Rumble got printed, that helps a lot. Gnarlid has been seeing some play, so that's been helping. But you still think 3 Tithing Blade effects is going to win the game here. And they do cloak up the Scout, okay, which means I can Relic the Gnarlid and I can Skyfisher and then potentially block next turn. I mean, if they draw really well, we could just be in a pretty rough spot here. Mere Enforcers wouldn't be bad draws. Another Tithing Blade, okay. Well, I think we're going to tap this, draw a card, Compass. I think we're just going to Skyfisher. It blocks pretty nicely here. Pick this up, and then if we can double Tithing Blade next turn, we should get at least 1 relevant creature. Once this is gone, one of these 2 being gone would be nice. Hyena Umbra is pretty good. If I double block, the Umbra does fall off. No, it doesn't, because first strike. And Umbra. Never mind. I guess we're taking 4. This is a weird Bogles game. I don't have a 3rd Tithing Blade, so that's not really an out. Mere Enforcer's not bad, though. Sack the Bogle. They probably have to sack the Gnarlid now, once they're all in. Actually, no. Well, yeah, because actually if they sack this, I was going to say the Gnarlid's just lethal and I can't block it. But if they sack this, the Gnarlid actually goes to a 3/3. Plus, we have the Compass to gain some life here, which they obviously don't know about. Yeah, we'll see what they choose. Looks like the Gnarlid is unblockable still, and a 2-turn clock, so they might keep that, but no, they keep the Scout. Well, now if we just find, assuming they don't find another creature, if we could just find another Core Skyfish or a Glinthawk, pick up the Tithing Blade, we can probably finish them off. Also, if we triple block now, we can make the Umbra fall off if they don't have another way to buff it. They don't attack for that reason. Duress, but they did not cast what they drew, so I can't imagine it's anything but a land. I could flip a blade, but I actually have to use a guy from the battlefield because we don't have anything in our graveyard. I mean, I can't imagine duress is going to be useful at any point now, so I guess we might as well send it off in case they have like an instant or something they're keeping. But yeah, not really what I was expecting. Well, the land is what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting them to have something that could be duressed. Abundant Growth is just a redraw, but as soon as they find an Ancestral Mask or Ethereal Armor, it's going to buff up Scout even more. They do play their Forest and nothing, so looks like another land in hand probably. Juka Bog is not relevant. I have a lot of card draw that I can get to set off a chain reaction, and then I just need one more Skyfisher or Glint Hawk, 6 in the deck. They're hitting land drops too, though. Refurb lets them discard their land. I could craft a Tithing Blade now. I don't need this guy. And if they get like a Rancor and it's 6 power, it's not going to make a difference. Actually, yeah, if they get a Rancor, they could mow down these two, but this would still eat the Umbra. Yeah, I mean, just on the off chance we stand here for a while, I guess we're going to craft this. Very weird, but sometimes you got to do that, I guess. They found another Glade Cover Scout because we took too long, and now our Tithing Blade is not a great answer to this. I would still take a Glint Hawk, but Thoughtcast is a good draw. Cryogen into another Enforcer. I think we just sacrifice the Cryogen. The tap's never going to be relevant. I'm not picking it up if I get a Glint Hawk or anything, so I might as well just cash it in, and it's a land. I could have flipped the other Tithing Blade, but I don't think that's wise. I only did it with the refurb because the 1 toughness doesn't really help here, whereas the 3 and 4 toughnesses are pretty important. Another Umbra doesn't change things too much. Thank goodness it wasn't an Ethereal Armor, which would give +5, make it a 9/9, and that would change things dramatically. They are attacking. Okay, well, they can only first strike down one of these guys, and then we can still eat one of the Umbras. So this is a 1-for-1 trade of probably an Enforcer and a Umbra. Not a great trade, but definitely what we have to do. They also gain some life. Yeah, Umbra falls off. We'll drain them with the Sepulcher. Drown in Sorrow is not bad. It clears the Scout, which makes Tithing Blade pick up pretty decent. We also scry one. We're going to keep a Cryogen, and even though we might pick up this Tithing Blade, that could be a little while, clearly. So we're going to craft it with this Mirror Enforcer to start gaining twice as much. They have another Glade Cover Scout. Maybe I should have held the Drown in Sorrow. I can't believe we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 creatures in their deck that has maybe 12. I guess maybe 14 if they have like 4 Silhana Ledgewalkers and some Aura Narlids, but still pretty crazy. So we get the Cryogen, and we're just gonna obviously cast it and cash it in if we need to. The longer this goes on, the better. I'm not really expecting these Sepulchers to win us the game, but if they can just pad our life total a little bit so we can actually take a hit, that could be pretty good. We do just draw land right away, so we will sacrifice this. We get a Skyfisher, which I guess we use to Tithing Blade them. Let's see, 1, 2. So I can actually attack for 2 here. I still want to leave back as many blockers as possible, right? But this way I can attack, I can Skyfisher, pick up this Skyfisher, replay it, pick up the Tithing Blade, play the Tithing Blade. And we have the mana, nothing else to spend it on, so we might as well, and we get in for 2 extra damage. Now I am flipping my Tithing Blade back, which is kind of annoying, but it makes it so that if we get another Glint Hawk or Skyfisher, and they don't get another creature, then we could actually kill them. I did think about holding the Drown in Sorrow just in general, like until the turn we actually used the Tithing Blade, so I probably should have held that, because if they did just run at the Scout, the Drown in Sorrow into this Tithing Blade would clear their guys and would probably win us the game. They find an Ethereal Armor. That's pretty bad. So I can block with everything, but they have first strike, so then they just kill all 3 Skyfishers, and then I don't kill them at all. Well, I guess we'll take 9, and then block next turn, and I mean, hope we find a Glint Hawk right here. Cast down. Phenomenal. Well, if they don't draw anything, we can survive 1 more turn, and they don't. Guess we block like this, since it doesn't matter to throw the extra guy there. This way they can only kill 2 of these. We don't take anything. We find a Skyfisher. Finally. I mean, finally that we have one when they don't have another creature. We get to Tithing Blade them. We actually don't die. Oh my god, I definitely thought we were going to lose that. Now we get to attack and flip our Tithing Blade. They are at 42, but we get to hit for 6 plus 2 every turn here. 8 total, which is only going to take 5 turns. So they have to find a creature and buff it up. It can't be another Narlid, and they concede. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. I mean, they were running out of time too, and that was only game 2. because they took an extra 11 minutes. But it should not have taken us that long to be able to find an answer, but they just had so many creatures. All right, we have a reasonable hand here. Ideally, we just get like a reasonable match. We've been against a couple different extremes. Perfect. Looks like mono red, you know, not necessarily an easy matchup for us, but I'm just feeling like I want something standard. All right, blue-black is generally the best land to lead off with because your 2-drops you generally want to be playing are blue or black, things like Tithing Blade, Refurbished Familiar, or Cryogen Relic, whereas your Glint Hawks, you generally want to be picking something else up after. Now, maybe I would have wanted to play a Glint Hawks just as a blocker here, which I now cannot do. I think as much as I need a blocker, it's probably not right to just do that because then they just bolt it and I'm a land behind. So I think regardless, this is how I'm playing this out, and the next turn I'm probably playing 2 refurbs, trying to take ideally their last 2 cards. Then I have 2 blockers that don't trade profitably. Yeah, they have a rally. So I'm gonna get their cards. I'm gonna have 2 blockers that are not super effective, but ooh, actually that's pretty good. So I still get to take their 2 cards, but then we have a Glint Hawk instead of a refurb on the field, so one of our guys does block profitably. So I like that, and they discard a Ren's Resolve, which is great for us. I could pick up a land here if I wanted 3 blockers. Honestly, not a bad idea, because we are already at 11, but I guess I'm going to get a little greedy here. We are certainly going to block both of these, though. And then they sack the Synth, so if they keep their 1 land in hand, then I can, okay, they play it because it's a mountain. Ren's Resolve is a great hit for us because they don't get to do anything with that. So now I can refurb. I could refurb, which draws us a card. I kind of want to get down the Skyfisher because it blocks, so I might just Skyfisher. Very nice. So we get to play this. I can Thought Cast, and now I can Skyfisher. And here I don't hate picking up a land, I think. I have a blocker, blocker, blocker. Can't attack at all. I guess if I pick this up, can they attack anyway? It's 2 damage in. Not great. I think it might be greedy again to pick up the refurb, but I think we're gonna. Raven's Crime not looking particularly good here in the face of them having no cards in hand. If they were any other deck and we had these 3 lands in hand, this looks amazing. But they get a Synth into a mountain. Not terrible for us. They might crack that right away for another Samurai, but then they run the risk of hitting another Ren's Resolve. They do still attack with everything. Okay. They get in for 2, which is not bad for them. They're going to pass. So we need to find our Compass to gain some life. So, I mean, this is our only way to draw cards. I did not draw us anything. Well, we're going to Tithing Blade them and then try to flip a Tithing Blade so that we can gain life that way then. Obviously, they're going to sack the Clockwork, and that could give them a bolt or something. It's a mountain, nicely for us. Play a bridge, and I could attack. I don't mind blocking this here. We attack for 4. But if they get a rally or something, it's pretty bad. I could split the difference and attack with the Skyfisher. I think we're going to attack. We're low enough. If we find a Compass or something, it's pretty decent. We can gain some life. But if not, we really need to end this game quickly. Obviously, they're going to sack this. So they have 2 hits to find like a rally to make this bad. But a Synth off the top is pretty good for them, but it's not super aggressive this turn. And another mountain. They're getting a little flooded for sure. But if they have like a Ren's Resolve or a rally, Percussionist, so they could attack for 1 here, so they probably will. Yeah, so I definitely took a damage that I could have prevented, which is good to know if we die by exactly the right damage. Cast down is decent, but I think I definitely want to flip this Tithing Blade, and then we won't have mana for the cast down. Plus, we do have blockers, so obviously we're not attacking this turn. We're going to hope that the Sepulcher can start bringing us back from the brink here. They do sack the Synth. Burning Tree Emissary. I mean, if they have that and a rally, that's pretty bad, but if not, it's not the worst. We're attacking with both. We're certainly just going to do the obvious blocks. If they have like an End the Festivities main deck, they get both our guys, but that's going to happen either way. Well, it's not going to happen either way, but we're definitely blocking that regardless. They get a mountain, Burning Tree from the exile, and then something in hand, which if they don't use, I can Raven's Crime, although if they don't use it, it's probably an instant, but at least I can know what it is. Yeah, Ancient Den's not great. We'll make him discard it. Yeah, Bolt on the Skyfisher. Okay. Not going face, though, is decent. Of course, it makes sense, because now I have a blocker that doesn't just eat their guy. I will trade and cast down the other. So, currently still alive. They Galvanic the Glint Hawk. Okay, fair enough. They want to keep one of their guys alive so they can keep getting in. Plus, Galvanic was only 2 damage. I think that's respectable. Hopefully I draw some card draw or something here. Well, that's not bad. At least it makes it so that we can get rid of that. They go to combat. Might as well just kill it now. And another Emissary. Tithing Blade doing some work for sure. but drawing way too many lands. Swing for 2, down to 6. They pass. Cryogen is definitely what we want. That can draw us 2, plus it can tap this. Mirror Enforcer is really good. All right, we're going to Raven's Crime them. I'm sure, again, it's probably a Bolt or whatever, but we'll make them use it now. It was a Galvanic, and they did not use it in response. I believe that was a mistake. So I could hold the Relic. That seems a little greedy. I think we will just sack it. Blood Fountain is really good, so I can play and use that. I can't bring anything back for free. That is free, like a Mirror Enforcer, so I might as well just wait on it. But now we have a blocker if they get haste off the top. Ren's Resolve is pretty good for them. Bushwhacker and Tomb Raider. That's only going to get him in for 2, and I get to eat the Tomb Raider, though, because we were able to tap this down. I knew it was greedy to use, and they are going to just wait on those, which I think is respectable. However, we get to refurb Skyfisher. I could Glinthawk Skyfisher, but the only thing to pick up is our Tithing Blade, which I really don't want to flip back over. I'll just take this. We get a Glinthawk anyway. Refurb to draw a card. Thoughtcast into Relic. Refurb is just drawing us a card here anyway, so we might as well play the Relic, which we can pick back up. Draws us another card. We can play again, and now we are way beyond them in value. Took a while, but luckily we were hitting our land drops for a very long time, and I could attack for 4, I think pretty safely here, but also we have so much value, and they do have 2 haste creatures here. If they get a rally or something, there's no reason to take extra damage. We will just hold back. And we win the game. All right. A little touch and go there for a bit, but the Tithing Blade being able to be crafted was super good, and eventually found more than just lands. Here we get Blue Blasts, Drown in Sorrow, and I think that's it. Get rid of the Raven's Crime. Tithing Blade, usually I would say, is not super great against them. I still think that's probably true, but it was really good there. But I guess Cast Down and Thraben Charm are probably just worse. I mean, this target, not just worse. This target's whatever, but this can be picked up and can gain life in a late game like that. I think we'll try this. All right, this one's not bad. We definitely need an artifact for these guys. And of course, we are a tap land deck, so it's a little slow, but we have a blue elemental blast on turn 2, assuming they don't get rid of our lands right here with like a Cast in the Fire. We should be okay. Rally. Yep. Well, I'll play a bridge. I could play Glinthawk, but like I said last time, that feels kind of rough. Plus, we have the Blue Blast this time. If they have like a Bushwhacker or another Rally here, we'll definitely counter that. Synth, I think I'm going to let go. Finds a mountain. Now they go for Ren's Resolve. I think we'll counter that. And Skyfisher was really hoping for, you know, a Grim Bauble would be great. We could pick off 2 guys and get a Glinthawk. But now we have to play a Skyfisher and replay a land, or I could play a Skyfisher and a Glinthawk, replay buy back 2 lands. We're really behind if they just have 2 bolts, though. I kind of think I just need to Thoughtcast here, and I can still Glinthawk if I really need. Yeah, Bajuka Bog. Not what we need. All right. Well, we will pick this up. Next turn, I guess I can't double Skyfisher, but yeah, again, we're just getting flooded. Like, I don't think this is really our fault. 7 lands, 5 spells. There's a Bushwhacker, which makes this just a trade, unfortunately. But I think a trade I have to take. And just another land. Well, how amazing for us. We'll play a Skyfisher. They have a Bolt for that, unsurprisingly. Sack the Synth for a mountain. We go to 4. I guess a Compass off the top could maybe stabilize us a little bit. It's a Relic. I guess I'll play that. Maybe we still find a Compass, somehow survive, and then survive the next turn. Drown in Sorrow, way too late. Yeah, 8 lands and 5 spells was that. Definitely gonna lose that game. If 2 of those spells were anything, if one of those lands, if 2 of those lands were, if one of those lands was like a relevant artifact that we could have picked up, I think we would have been okay. Oof, this one's very reliant on the Relic. I think we got to mulligan that. It's kind of close if I want to be greedy, but this one's quite a bit better. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. Yeah, it's got to be the Mirror Enforcer. Mirror Enforcer could be really good here, but we don't necessarily have the artifacts to get it down right away if we don't draw well. And if we don't draw another land, even though we just drew a million, then we could definitely lose to that. They swing for 1. Well, we get the Enforcer back. I could just play a Familiar, which blocks decently here, but I think we'll start by drawing some cards. Burning Tree Emissary. Every single game they've started with Clockwork into Rally, and now they have the Clockwork into the Burning Tree into a Cast in the Fire. Very nice. All right, we get another refurb. Yeah, so I could Goldmire Bridge. Don't do anything this turn. That feels bad. I'd rather just play the Vault. We don't get the Glint Hawk down for a couple turns, but we get to take a card here, and we have a blocker. If they clear it, then that's fine, but next turn we get another refurb, blocker, and take a card. And if this doesn't die, we could then also get the Mirror Enforcer down, although it's going to die because I'm going to either trade it or... I guess if they don't kill it, maybe I don't trade it so that I get the Enforcer down. Something to think about. Enforcer's a good blocker. I mean, next turn all I'm doing is refurb. That's it. I could Cryogen. 5, 6, make sure I've counted correctly. I guess we'll take it so that I can get the Enforcer down next turn. I mean, if they read that, maybe they just bolt this, but they could have done that regardless. They play a Synth into a Bolt. Well, now that goes face. Okay. Seat. Okay, this is not bad. We get our White Source down, and I get my Enforcer, and we'll leave these back to block. It was a bit of a gamble, not blocking with the Familiar, but I'm pretty happy with getting the Enforcer down here. They could have like a Cast in the Fire, Smash to Smithereens, even better. But what are you going to do about that? They're out of cards. I think we block both, and then we have a Glint Hawk. Pick this up, block here. They do get something off the top. It's a Bushwhacker. I mean, good to know about. Blood Fountain could be good later. Pick up the Relic. Blue Blast. Well, that's great. So I get to just hold up Blue Blast for the Bushwhacker. Plus we have a Tithing Blade. I guess... yeah, I could counter it now. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Doesn't really matter. Either way, I'm probably going to block here if they attack, and then I'll Tithing this away. And if they don't attack, which I'm actually very okay with, then we can Tithing that away, and we don't even have to trade our guy off. I'm going to leave back the Glint Hawk, though, obviously as a blocker. And next turn, we can buy back Refurb Enforcer, which is pretty nice. They play an Epicure. Yeah, they got one card in hand, which could just be like a Bolt, but we're going to find out. Make them discard it with the Familiar. Yeah, they Bolt us. We're at 5. Definitely possible it was right to just... we're going to attack. If they get a Rally, they get in for 1 extra damage, but I'm taking that risk. Possible I should have just flipped the Tithing Blade, but then I don't have any blockers for these. Okay, they get a Mountain. Crack Synth next turn, it looks like. And we're going to craft this. We're going to crack that. They're only going to have 1. I think we crack in for 6 here. Try to speed up the clock as much as we can. Yep, they sack that. Oh, unless they drew something they want to play. Oh, they drew a Synth. Okay. They were very clearly going to crack this one, but they actually drew one. And they get a Mountain, so they can still crack it, but now they can't play whatever they get off of it, which is nice for us. Bit unlucky for them. Definitely going to discard a card with this Blood Token. Skyfisher is decent. Ping them for 1. Glint Hawk's not bad either. We're going to attack. They're going to take it. We're going to pick up the Cryogen, play it again, Thoughtcast, looking for like a Compass to really seal the deal. Blue Blast is good too. That'll do just about the same thing. Thoughtcast, there's a Compass as well. So let's play the Compass, hold up the Blue Blast, and I cannot imagine dying from this position. Plus we have him on dead next turn. All right, little tough, but we were able to get there, and that was a fun match. 1 land that can't play any of our spells. Actually can cast our Glint Hawk, my apologies. We're not going to keep that. This one we're going to keep. It's not amazing. I think we get rid of the cast down. Pretty bad if we go up against spy walls or anything that we really need a removal spell for, like an early one. But otherwise, I think it sets our hand up to be the best it can be because we want Blood Fountain for the insight to draw into something, and Glint Hawk is just a good card. Well, we're going to play a Blood Fountain. If they have a Spell Pierce, so be it, but they don't. I don't really want to pick this up with the Glint Hawk, so we're going to hold it a little longer. Looks like it could be Izzet something. Same with the Skyfisher. We're not going to play this right now. They have a Brainstorm here. We're going to sack this. I mean, it could be like High Tide or something. Can't do much about that. If it is, I mean, if we knew it was High Tide, we would have been playing these guys from the very start, but I feel like it's more likely just like Izzet Terror or something. And there's the Volatile Fjord, so indeed. Well, I guess we're playing a Blood Fountain. We're casting an Enforcer, and we're going aggro here. Was not the goal, but here we are. I waited long enough with these guys, and they are a control deck. We're probably not quite as hard of a control deck as they are. Obviously, we're mid-range, they're more control, but we do have some cards to help level the playing field, like a Raven's Crime is phenomenal in this matchup. They do have a Scred for the Enforcer. They have counter spells for the Blood Fountain. No, maybe not. They're just going to Ponder. Okay, so we can get that back. Another Skyfisher. Well, I'm going to play a Blood Fountain, and I'm going to play a Skyfisher. I'm going to pick up the Blood Fountain. I'm going to play that. I guess this gets Spell Pierced here, so maybe I shouldn't, but we have a million blood tokens, but I also really want to hit my land drops, at least for the first 5 or 6 turns, so I don't think we're going to keep any cards in hand, and now if we draw lands we can just cycle through them pretty quick. They probably play some like Breath Weapons main deck, but so I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have played all of these guys out if these were all Glint Hawks, but they're not. Murmuring Mystic, pretty scary. Bauble does not help. We're going to attack for 6, and while they're tapped out, I guess we're going to draw 2 from this Insight. Tithing Blade would have been a much better top deck right there. Now it's not going to be super relevant probably. It's going to eat a bird. I guess if they only make enough birds to like chump block and then we can eat them all, maybe we'll be okay. But kind of a scary position now. They're going to attack for 1. Terrifying. I'm just kidding. They're not blocking, so it doesn't matter. Thought casts. I don't think there's any reason to cast anything pre-combat. I'd rather just wait. I'm sure they're probably going to bolt one of these and then chump the other, potentially. Yeah, there's the bolt. They don't chump. Maybe they fear the Tithing Blade. I'm going to Thought Cast. That's fine. Cast Down is good. Fumes is good against the birds. Well, I'm not going to Cast Down because they'll counter it. Tithing Blade's useless. Grim Bauble I could do on a turn where I could do everything else to like Grim Bauble away. Suffocating Fumes is decent. I mean, we're going to hold this. We have Blood Fountain up, and we have a whole swath of removal here that we can use at our leisure. They'll swing with both. That seems aggressive. With the bird, that is. I guess if they can make enough to kill all these, it's not a big deal. We will return these guys. Land would be decent. Compass is not really where I want to be. We're going to attack for 4. I'm sure they're going to bolt another one of these. They do. Maybe bolt one more. They are. Yep, scred the other one. Okay. So I'm going to cast an Enforcer. See if they want to counter that or anything. They don't. So I can Suffocating Fumes, and then if that gets countered or resolves, I can kill the Mystic. I could do this at their end step though, and then go into Tithing Blade Grim Bauble to try to finish it up. I think that feels better. I guess I can't do both if I don't hit an untapped land here, but I think I really need to hit land drops. So I'm going to Thought Cast. We don't. We hit another Enforcer though. I guess that's decent. And another removal spell for the Mystic once we have more creatures on the board, which I guess is a reason. I'll just play the Skyfisher out. If they counterspell it, then I was going to, I could have picked up a land there, but since they counterspelled it, I'm going to hope their last spell isn't a counterspell and cast this down in their upkeep. They scred. Oh, maybe I should have done it when they were tapped out then. Fair enough. But we also now have a Suffocating Fumes to wipe their birds. So unless they have another counterspell, we're not in a terrible spot. In fact, we're in a very good spot if this resolves. If not, it's kind of rough. But we're going to Fumes them. Hope that goes off. They top deck the counterspell. All right, well, I can Grim Bauble the one bird that can block currently and get in for 4, which at least puts them on the back foot. Might as well play this Compass since we have it. Actually, maybe I should have just ditched it to a blood token. But that's fine. And then top deck a Lorien revealed. Okay. Drawing incredibly well right now. And a Terror. Okay. They're just going to attack with everything? That still seems very ambitious. Not leaving back a single one for a removal spell, which means they feel like they have to have a counter spell. Otherwise, that's just a little silly. All right, I can buy back a Glint Hawk and a Skyfisher. Play the Skyfisher. Well, let's Thought Cast. I can always buy back a Glint Hawk instead if I don't have the mana. Refurb is nice. That lets me see what they got. And if they have a counter spell, at least they'll use it on this. They have a Lose Focus. Okay. So now I can Blood Fountain back, Mirror Enforcer, and Glint Hawk. But I actually don't want a Glint Hawk here because I want to hold it up for a Tithing Blade. No, Tithing Blade doesn't matter. I might as well use it on a Grim Bauble. So I might as well just do that. Or a Refurb, actually, because I can take their card next turn. Yeah, that seems good. Mirror Enforcer, and then they have to leave all their blockers back. I guess Refurb is a lethal attacker. Maybe I should have just gone for the Grim Bauble, because if I could have just cleared enough blockers, we could get in for lethal. Maybe that was a mistake, but I also, another Refurb. I like clearing their card here. Probably just a land or a Spell Pierce, something irrelevant. Play another Refurb. Relic's decent, but I don't think we need to cast that. I think we can just deal 1,000,000 damage to this Terror, pay the ward. Now we can attack in. They have to chump all of them. They could double block the Glint Hawk, but we're going to get there. All right. Definitely felt pretty good most of the time. It was slipping away a little bit after the Murmuring Mystic, which is always a problem. Last Rites can be very good here. Thraben Charms is just more removal. Plus Graveyard Hate's decent. Duress is good. Some Blue Blasts aren't bad. Grim Bauble's not amazing. Compasses. Tithing Blade is good, it's just not good against Murmuring Mystic when they do that, but if we had drawn it earlier and held it and then they cast a Murmuring Mystic with no backup, it would be pretty good. Suffocating Fumes is generally not very good, but also it is good after a Murmuring Mystic, so I kind of like keeping it in as the out to that. Cast Down is too good. I guess maybe we don't need this many Thraben Charms, and those Blood Fountains were really nice. I mean, these are probably the cards that I should cut. I kind of feel like they're going to be pretty decent here. I guess we'll just be disciplined. Maybe it's not right to cut these, but like generally Suffocating Fumes is only good against their 1 or 2 Murmuring Mystics and only after they've taken control of the game, so I don't know. Not really where I want to be, but it is nice as a out to that situation that we were just in. Although it got countered, and we were able to survive anyway, so I guess maybe it's not necessary. This hand's pretty decent. Assuming they don't get countered, it goes turn 2 Familiar into turn 3 Familiar Glinthawk, plus a Duress. They mulled a 5, and with 3 hand attack pieces, maybe 4 with the Glinthawk on the refurb, it looks pretty good. They ponder, and they end up shuffling. Another Glinthawk. If I drew an untapped land there, I might just Duress them here so I can clear the way for the refurb. I could still just Duress them here, because they could just have a counter spell. I think the upside and the fact that this is a 2-drop currently is probably better to just refurb. They have an annul. That's fair. Duress could clear the way for that. That's alright. Fjord, Goldmire. So now we can play... Yeah, it's kind of annoying that I did that last turn, because now I could refurb plus Glinthawk, which I really want to resolve, but if they have another counterspell, we lose the refurb, and now Glinthawks are both really bad, so I think we actually have to Duress. Play it a little slow, but next turn we can still take 2 cards from their hand, assuming they don't have the counterspell then. I'm not going to just Glinthawk for a random 2-2. And if all they had was Spell Pierce, maybe it would have been better to do refurb, but obviously I had no way of knowing if it was that or an actual counterspell. And they tap out for a Terror. Okay, well, we can take their last card, no problem. And then we can have enough mana next turn to cast down. It's a Scred. Okay, so I'm not too worried about them now. We'll just draw another card with this refurb and get a bridge down. Of course, if they top deck a counterspell, they could be in an okay spot here, which is why I probably won't just cast this down. I'll probably play like Enforcer plus Glinthawk. Blue Blast could be decent. Okay, I think we will swing. We're racing. We're technically losing the race right this moment, but oh, well, we'll see what they do. Cast Another Fire. So that does just let me kill their Terror. Or I could counter this, Glinthawk, pick it up, draw a new card. I don't get the Enforcer down this turn. I don't get the Enforcer down either way. I really want to keep this around because I want to pick it up with the Glinthawk, play it again. Yeah, I kind of think we're just going to counter this. I get in for the damage. I guess I could, actually, I can just play an Enforcer here for 2, and then I play my Glinthawk, pick up the refurb, and then this is still blockers for the Terror. And then I have my refurb for next turn to take their next card. That seems pretty good. Okay, pretty happy with that. They can't attack, which also just means I get to draw a card with the refurb. Fine with that too. And a Tithing Blade is a great draw. Lets us keep our cast downs for Murmuring Mystic, plus it just lets us attack in for a bunch here and not have to spend 4 mana on it. So we were able to take the match down, Tithing Blade being a lot more effective that game too. All right, for our final boss this evening, we have Luffy, who's going to more than likely be on Grixis Affinity. We have very good sideboard cards against them, aka Dust to Dust, but this is not a great hand. This is a also terrible hand. Great hand if we just have the right mana, but without it, not keepable. This hand is, I guess, fine. Not really even. Raven's Crime not looking great when I am behind here, so we'll see how this goes here. I mean, I don't want them to play a refurb, but if they do, Grim Bauble can take that out right away. Blood Fountain, if they play like Black Mage's Rod, I can bobble it. Oh my gosh, Glinthawk's looking really bad. I mean, just the fact that we can't cast them, and even if we can, they pick up a Grim Bauble, which is not amazing by any means. I think we just get rid of a Glinthawk here. The fact that they played a refurb means I can take it out with the Bauble, plus then I can Thoughtcast for 1. Maybe we hit something else, like a Blood Fountain for 1. Or I guess if I do that, yeah, another refurb. I guess it's not another Glinthawk. I can't cast it at the moment. They do miss their land drop, but we are struggling. Pick this off. Thoughtcast. All right. We had to play our land before we did anything else, so the Ancient Den we couldn't play regardless. Now we get to Skyfisher. Oh my god. Triple refurb draw is brutal. I mean, I need this to play in Skyfisher and Skyfisher to block this, so I guess we get rid of an Enforcer. Goldmire Bridge. Okay, well, we will play a Skyfisher. We'll pick this up, and I guess we'll use it. It just kind of fuels their Blood Fountain, but if they just Galvanic Blast this, I'd rather not be taking 4 every turn. No attacks, and we top deck a Thoughtcast. That's pretty good. Skyfisher is not what I need. I really need a Cryogen Relic to keep up with the value. I mean, they're only at 4 cards. We have 2, but they're about to crack a Blood Fountain and take our 2 cards, so that's pretty bad. So I probably should have held that bridge. That's annoying. In fact, I could have held the bridge and bounced another land. I don't know if I really want to do that. I guess I do want another Skyfisher on the field, though, and might as well pick up a land since they're going to make us discard it more than likely. I can get in for 2 here, so we'll lose a Cast Down, which is not the worst thing to lose in a land, which I would rather not lose, but what are you going to do when the refurbs come for you? the old mulligan to 5 and then get hit by 5 refurbs. So you basically mulligan to 0, you know? That's how that works, right? And a Black Mage's Rod. Suffocating Fumes off the top would be so good. All right, our own refurb's not bad. I can Grim Bauble to set up our draws. Can't attack. But yeah, we're going to start taking damage from this hero token. If we can find Suffocating Fumes, that does a lot of work. But they're finding all their card draw, and we are not. I mean, we found a couple of Thoughtcasts. I can't say that wasn't card draw, but we have not hit our Relic, which is the big problem. Come on, Fumes. There's a Relic and a Blood Fountain, which looks pretty decent. So we're going to keep those both. We are kind of dying to this, but I definitely need a Relic. The Blood Fountain looks pretty good too. Thoughtcast and Cryogen. Bargain away the Relic. We're down to 12. Great Furnace, Wellspring. Oh, if we just get the Suffocating Fumes. I mean, now they're at 8 cards, so it's, you know, not the best thing in the world, but it wipes 4 of their creatures. It lets us go on the aggressive, on the offensive. I could just Blood Fountain here, but that does not help us survive. And at the very least, if we draw like an untapped land, we could still just do that, but we're definitely going to Thoughtcast. Thraben Charm is okay. I guess it can shoot the hero token, which means they have to spend 3 mana if they want to keep killing us. They don't have a Blood Fountain at the moment. They don't even have anything in the graveyard, so I think that's the call. And we'll play a bridge so that we can actually use a Glint Hawk that we pick up with the Blood token, or the Blood Fountain rather. And they just Galvanic Blast us. I assume they just have 3 then. Okay, they drew 10 more cards than we did, so I guess that's what we get. Well, our sideboard should be better than theirs, so let's hope. Last Rites could be decent. Duress is good. Blue Blast could be okay. Grim Bauble, Compasses we don't need. Tithing Blade doesn't seem amazing. Cast Down is not even amazing. I don't know if I want to get rid of all that removal. Fumes would have been amazing there. I mean, they do have Black Mage's Rod and Refurb, so it's kind of okay regardless, but obviously not the best thing ever. We already have Thraben Charm for Makeshift Munitions, so I don't actually know if I need Blue Elemental Blast. I don't care about Krark, and sure, it could keep us alive against triple Galvanic in the end like that, but that doesn't seem super likely. Maybe we could get rid of those actually, in which case we keep the Tithing Blades. Yeah, let's try that. All right, this hand is reasonable. It's nothing crazy. Certainly no Dust to Dusts, but turn 2 Familiar, turn 3 Familiar with the Skyfisher. We play a bridge, and we get another Skyfisher, so we can maybe just keep refurbing them, see how they like it. Then again, they could just have a Galvanic Blast for this Familiar, which would be pretty annoying, but we don't have a lot else going on, so we're just gonna play this. Luckily, they did not. Discard another Breath Weapon. Good to know about. They have a refurb. I think Thraben Charm looks the least relevant at the moment. Thoughtcast maybe because we don't have any blue, but when we do, it'll be pretty good. Cryogen. Well, I think we're just gonna hit them with another refurb. I figure they'd probably be happy to trade, so I didn't really want to attack. Get a Blood Fountain, and I guess we might have to Insight next turn just to hit our blue sources. Should be pretty annoying. They Thoughtcast into a Wellspring and a Spell Bomb and an Enforcer. Okay. There's a Dust to Dust. Unfortunately, we haven't hit double white. I don't love having to put this Insight right into the graveyard when they have a Spell Bomb, but I think we just have to. And I don't want to sacrifice a land, so I think I'm just going to get rid of this refurb that they block. And we don't draw any lands. Well, I feel like we're going to lose because we're not drawing lands, even though we have, obviously, the answer to their whole deck and also a lot of good value, but we don't have any mana to play them. They draw 3, and they also have hit 3 Thoughtcasts, both games, super early. Map onto the Familiar with a Bargain on top. Ancient Den off the top at least stops their guys. That would be pretty nice. Goldmire Bridge is the slow version of that. I guess while they're tapped out, I will shoot their Familiar. And I could chump with the Skyfisher. That doesn't feel very effective, so we'll just attack. They blast the Skyfisher, and then maybe sack the Spell Bomb, get rid of all our creatures. They have a Blood Fountain. Ugh. Plus we know they have a Munitions, and we know they have a Reckoner's Bargain, so I can't actually take out the Enforcer. Refurb. They have 1 refurb in their graveyard. Well, I can play that and use Dust to Dust. I suppose we will. They discard a bridge. They have a Reckoner's Bargain. So if I target Mirror Enforcer, they gain 7, but at least it dies, and then I actually can exile the Blood Fountain as my other card. So yeah. Oh, we're also just at 9 life, and they have a Makeshift Munitions with 6 land on board. So I could take out 2 land, but then they kill this, they get in for 4, they can still just kill us. So I guess I attack these, they can just throw them with the Munitions, and then they only have to find 1 more to just kill us. So yeah, we're pretty much dead either way. We just stumbled too long. Bargain away the Enforcer. Black Mage's Rod. I feel like usually our mana works out pretty decently, despite the 3 colors and everything, but but this time it did not. Munitions, pick off our guy. Glint Hawk. We will Insight a Vault of Whispers. All right, we can't do anything here, and they can just kill us next turn. So unfortunately, that's going to be the end. We did go 3-2, which is by no means terrible, but our loss was to Spy. Maybe we need more cards against Spy. I felt like Fairy Macabre plus 2 Thrabins in the sideboard and 2 in the main deck was pretty reasonable. Plus we have a lot of removal for their guys, but it felt like they had 1 Mesmeric Fiend and we couldn't do anything about it. So maybe we need more cards for that. And then against Grixis Affinity, I think we have a very good matchup, to be honest. I think we just got very unlucky, and that happens sometimes. So kind of frustrating, but what are you going to do? In general, I think the deck is very strong. Kind of a weird league today. I felt like it didn't really show itself super well. I mean, Izzet Control was pretty decent, and Red Rally, it showed up pretty well, but the other 3 matches all felt very weird and not what I'm used to. So if there's more leagues like that, maybe there is some more stuff to iron out with the deck, but in general, the deck has felt a lot more like that Red Rally and Izzet League, where, you know, sometimes we fall behind, sometimes we lose games, but generally we can overcome with just the sheer amount of value and removal that we have. In any case, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons, including my $10 patrons, Howard Granger, Laars, JMW, Rafa Rodriguez, JDNPX, Jason Golombuski, Groma, Halkaz, Ricardo Pasqualato, and Cody Cowell. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.